Alright, action. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, guys. So, where do I begin? My name is Ariana. This is my YouTube channel, and I really just wanted to explain who I am to you guys, so you guys get a little idea of who I am. So when I was born, for those who don't know, when I was born with cystic fibrosis. I didn't find out that I had cystic fibrosis until I was 12. Sorry, my dogs. So I didn't find out that I had cystic fibrosis until I was 12 years old. Usually people always get diagnosed at birth, or at least like a few months after birth when they get like their test results back and stuff. But I didn't find out until I was 12, and I'm very lucky to still be alive, going that 12 years without having any treatment, medications, all of that stuff. Sorry, my dogs are trying to walk in. Okay. So, like I said, I'm very lucky to be alive. And I think that I'm on this earth for a reason. And I think that reason is to be a mom to my son, Chase, the love of my life. But back to cystic fibrosis. So what cystic fibrosis is it's a terminally ill disease. It basically affects my whole entire body, from my lungs, like mainly my lungs, but my lungs, digestive system, like everything. And especially your fertility. Like, it affects everything. And boys with CF, we call it CF for short. Boys with CF usually are completely infertile. And luckily for me, I got blessed with my son. And I'm so thankful for him. He is my entire world. That's a different topic. But back to cystic fibrosis. Oh my God. I can't even say my own disease. Back to CF. I'm just going to call it CF because it's a lot easier for me. So back to CF. I didn't get diagnosed until I was 12, like I said. And usually, like, I've met so many people in my lifetime that have CF, and they're all dead. Like, I'm going to just put it out there. They're dead. And you know what? I just know I'm the lucky one. And it's just so surprising to me how I'm still alive, and I'm so thankful for that. But I'm 23. I'll be 24 in a few months. And the friends that I've known, they died, and they did not make it to 23. And I'm just so lucky and thankful to be alive. And I just know that I'm very lucky. And especially going through pregnancy, having my son, and having just everything be good. Like, my lung function it's been the same for about like 10 years, but it's keeping me alive. And I have this microbacterium, it's called Chelone, and I guess I got it when I was 12 or 13, I don't remember, but I got it from going in the swimming pool and basically tap water. So a funny story is I used to always eat top ramen out of a hot tub at our apartment complex. And I think I got Chelone from that. And it's pretty gross. I used to literally cook it in the hot tub. But I'm actually glad I did, because I honestly, truly believe that Chelone is keeping me alive. Every time that they've tried to kill it, because it's a really bad infection, like mainly in my lungs, but throughout my whole body, it's a microbacterium abscessus. And I just feel like it's literally keeping me alive. And I'm just thankful for myself. Like, I think I'm so lucky to be alive, especially going through pregnancy, having CF, like making it, having a great recovery, having my son be so healthy. I'm just overly blessed. I literally can't stress it enough. And I'm just so happy to be myself. Like, yeah, I go through insecurities, this and that, But at the end of the day, I am so blessed. Honestly, I'm so blessed. Like, yes, I have a feeding tube for extra nutrition, but you know what? I feel good because it helps me gain weight, and I'm so thankful for it. I got my first feeding tube when I was 14, and that first week, like literally, sorry, I'm all getting like tearing up and stuff, but literally that first week was hell. Like, I just remember being so down, and my mom got me this cat. His name is Spider. My grandpa has him. Like, I still have him to this day. And, like, I was just so down. So my mom bought me a cat. And, like, that was, I remember, like, being the worst surgery that I've had in my life. I have had over 50 surgeries in my life, and I'm 23. Sorry. Like, I have a portacath. I don't know. I'll show you guys. There's like a scar right here, and you can see I still have it. I've had that since I was 15. And, okay, sorry. Back to the G-tube. Okay, so my G-tube, I took it out when I was 17 or 18. I took it out because I was just so like insecure about it. And I ended up getting it back when I was 19. And I'm so extremely glad that I got it back. And this time I will never take it out. I love it so much. It's literally my little homie. It's a Mickey button, and it helps me so much. It really does, especially when I was pregnant and having cystic fibrosis. Your appetite is gone. It's just gone. Like, you gotta take a lot of things, like a lot of medications in order to get your appetite back, but it's shot. And one of my friends who has CF, like, they didn't want to have a G-tube, and they didn't. And I was just so surprised, like, how do they keep the weight on? But me, like, I need it because if I'm not hungry, I won't eat. I'm not gonna force myself to eat. And they call them boluses. Like, during the day, you could do like a bolus, like just with the syringe and everything, and that helps me. But my feeds at night, they help me so much. They help me keep my weight on, and I'm just so thankful for my G-tube. I will never take it out, ever. And yeah, sometimes I get self-conscious over it, but at the end of the day, I still feel good, and I still feel like I look good, so I don't care. And then, so to my port, back to my, for a very long time. And you're supposed to, I think, switch it out like every 5 years, but I've only had one. When I thought my G-tube surgery was the worst thing ever, it was this. And I had a C-section. I literally had a C-section with my son. And the C-section was not bad. My port, getting that placed, was literally the worst surgery of my entire life. And mind you, I've had over 50 surgeries. I've had DNCs, multiple. I've had bronchs. I've had a PICC line, portacath, G-tube, C-section. I've had a sinus surgery. Like, I've had so many surgeries and multiple times. I've also had a embolism twice. So they had to go into my lungs and repair a blood vessel. It's from me coughing a lot, and they had to go in and do that because my blood vessel burst. They had to do, I don't even know, you know what I'm talking about, Google it. They had to do something to burn my vessels and repair it. I don't know. I'll insert some pictures here and there of surgeries and me and the hospital and all that. But, oh, speaking of the hospital, I've been to the hospital a lot. And especially like growing up, I would go every 3 months and I would stay for at least a month. I've stayed during my birthday, Christmas. I actually had surgery on my birthday. But I went the holidays. One time I stayed in the hospital right like a week before Thanksgiving, and this is like one I'll never forget. And so it was like a week before Thanksgiving. I stayed all to Thanksgiving, and I literally got out Christmas Eve. And I mean, I've stayed during Christmas in the hospital. I've stayed New Year's, you know, a bunch of times. But growing up, I went to Loma Linda Hospital, the Children's Hospital in California, and that was like my favorite hospital. Even though I felt like a guinea pig because I got diagnosed there, so like I immediately went into the hospital, and so I've always like stayed there. Growing up, it was still my favorite hospital because it was just great. Like being a guinea pig, yeah, besides that, but the nurses were amazing. They were great. I mean, here and there's always those nurses that my mom used to fight with because stuff, and I'll tell you another story about that I have. But overall, like, they were great nurses. Like, they used to bring me ice cream and this and that, and it was great. And then I went to a couple other hospitals after that. When you become an adult and you have to go to the hospital, it's not fun anymore. Because when I went to the Children's Hospital, you know, during the holidays, it was amazing. Like, you get to decorate gingerbread cookies and gingerbread houses, and they had Santa Claus, and you get toys and gifts and pillows and blankets. I remember, like, blankets were the best during the holidays. Like, they would have people make stuff and bring you stuff, and, like, that, for me, was always fun. Like, getting all the gifts and stuff. But when you get older, it's not like that anymore. But I used to love, like, at the Children's Hospital, they would give you, like, paint and stuff, and there was a children's room. They would have movie nights and movie days, and it was just so fun. Like, for real, it was so fun. And I always, like, tell people that they should donate to, like, hospitals like that, not to, like, because I feel like some hospitals, they really don't give their money to the patients, but like at Loma Linda especially, and Chalk. I never went to Chalk, Children's Hospital of Orange County. I never went there, but I feel like they are just like Loma Linda, where they help a lot. But there are some hospitals that I would not donate to because I feel like they're fake. They don't give, like, you know, money to like the actual kids and stuff. Oh, speaking of that, I did a Make-A-Wish, and let me tell you, the Make-A-Wish, if I'm gonna donate to anybody, like anything, donate to Make-A-Wish, because I've got to go on a cruise, and everything was completely paid for, and it was literally the best week, except for the fact that I had this terrible sinus pain the whole week, and literally when I was in a different country, my mom had to go to the pharmacy and give me like ear stuff, and it didn't work. And literally, I remember that to this day. And it was the worst pain, like in my ears. But yeah, if you're gonna ever donate, please, please, please donate to Make-A-Wish, because I love Make-A-Wish. That was like the greatest experience of my life, and it was amazing. So I just really want to thank Make-A-Wish for making that possible for me, because honestly, it was great. And I'm just so thankful for Make-A-Wish. And I'm actually very, very, very thankful for like all of my experiences in life. For real, it's like when you think about it, it's crazy. Like, I've been through a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm very thankful. Oh my goodness gracious, I am just tearing up today. Okay, back to my life. Hold on. Back to my life. Okay. So, the day I found out that I had CF, and the reason it took me so long to find out my whole life growing up, my mom used to always say that she just knew something was like wrong with me as a baby. Like you could tell, like a CF person to a not CF person, like you could tell. And so my mom, like I guess, you know, she heard the name CF before. And so she always just thought that I had it. And like I would go in and out of having insurance and everything. And then the pediatrician, when I was 12, sent me to go, you know, a referral to go to Loma Linda to do a sweat chloride test. And then, so it's a sweat chloride test, like to see how much you sweat and everything. And I just remember laying on the bench, not feeling good. My dogs are trying to break in. Not feeling good. And they did the sweat chloride test and everything. It took like, I think a couple days to get the results back. I wasn't there when my mom got the phone call. I was actually at school. I went to Hope Junior High in Victorville. And I remember getting off the bus and I started walking home. Oh my God. And I remember my parents. Oh my God. I remember my dad. So the bus stop was literally like across the street from where we lived at the time. And I remember seeing, oh my God. I remember seeing my dad, you know, walking up, and usually he didn't walk up to the bus stop. And I remember him walking, and I just remember like talking to him normal. And then I got inside the house, and I have a little brother, and he was a little baby at the time. I think he was like 6 months, something, 8 months, if that, I don't remember. But I remember my mom was with him, and my mom just looked at me and just started crying and said that you have cystic fibrosis. And honestly to God, I had no idea what the hell that meant, because I didn't know. I just knew that my mom knew what it was. And wow, the next day my life changed forever. Literally forever. I went straight to the hospital. There's a video on YouTube of me doing my vest. It's called the vest. For the first time. And I'll actually insert like a little clip so you guys can see.
You should talk. It's like you're sucking on a balloon.
It's funny.
This was me in the hospital. Wow. And man, when I tell you, I hated needles, I freaking mean I hated needles. It was the worst. Like all the nurses, like they wrote in my chart, like, this bitch hates needles. Like they literally wrote in the chart, and every time they would tell me how to draw blood or get an IV. Wow. Mind you, I didn't have my G-tube at the time. I didn't have a port, no PICC line. Like, I never had to get shot. Like, okay, I got shots and stuff, and I hated that. But when I found out I had CF, my whole life changed forever. Like, now you're getting poked all the time, every single day. You're in the hospital, have to switch your IV every 3 days. Every 3 days. Because when they give you these hardcore antibiotics, your veins, like, these IVs go bad. And when I tell you, like, I just had to keep getting new IVs every 3 days, was the worst. Literally the worst. And I hated needles so bad. I would scream and scream. And like my mom, my whole childhood, my mom was with me in that hospital. She was with me the whole 2 weeks. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I'm not trying to think back. Like, I literally had my brother. And like, my mom was still with me, you know? She was literally with me. Like, so the first time I got hospitalized, I had to leave early because from Hook Junior High, I was getting an award, and the doctors were like, usually we can't let you leave early, this and that. But like I think it was like for perfect attendance at the time, or like straight A's and B's, something. I don't even remember, but I remember I had to leave the hospital because I had to get that award, and I think it was at like Maverick Stadium or some like baseball thing, whatever. But that's the reason why I left, and I was in the hospital for a week and a half. But during that week, oh my God, I forgot. I gotta tell you guys too. I could not swallow pills. Having CF, you have to swallow like, I think like 30 pills a day, if that, sometimes more. But oh my gosh, I could not swallow pills. And the worst thing were these vitamin pills. They would open and put them on pudding. And when I tell you I couldn't swallow pills, I mean, I could not swallow pills. I would put the pill in my mouth and it would just not swallow. I would be chugging drink and it would just keep going to the like front of my tongue. Wow. It was literally hell. Hell. I'm so glad like I'm past that. Like needles, still don't tell me about them. Just do it, get it over with. And then back in the days when like they would wake me up in the middle of the night in the hospital to like get blood work, they would turn on the lights and they would start trying to tell me about it. My mom would yell at them, be like, please just do it. Like, don't tell her about it. When I tell you, I was so scared. Like, I'm literally shaking right now thinking about poor Ariana, how scared she was. I used to yell at my mom and be like, Mom, like, this is all your fault. Like, I still to this day, we have this thing that, like, when I die, I'm going to meet her at the North Gate and I'm going to tell her this is all her fault. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's me and my mom's thing. Like, I'm going to tell her it was all her fault. Oh, I'm getting emotional again, sorry. But when I tell you that my mom was there for me, man, that lady was there for me. I don't know what I would do without her. She was there for me so much. Like literally. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Man, I did not know I was gonna cry, like at all. I had no idea. Wow. Wow. Man, I love my mom. For real, I love that lady. Oh, man. Wow. All right, I'm back. My eyes are still a little watery, but I can't stop. They're still watering. But, Mashi! My dogs, I swear, they're trying to break in. Okay. So, totally lost track of where I was, but I'm gonna talk about some of my surgeries that like are very like in my brain that I want to talk about. My G-tube surgery. So, when I first got my G-tube surgery, wow. Okay, like how I said, I did not like needles. So when I would go to get the surgeries or whatever, they would put the mask over my like my nose and my mouth to put me to sleep. And then when I was asleep, they would give me the IV and everything because it was bad. Like I was scared, frightened of needles, bad, like bad. Screaming like top of my lungs, bad. And so they did that, and I realized afterwards I would get very sick. I mean very sick. 104 fever every time. Every time they did this mask. So, fast forward until fast forward till I think I was 19. I found out I had malignant hypothermia. And I found that out from a dentist, literally a dentist, when I was getting my wisdom teeth pulled. And they were putting me to sleep. So I found this out. So it's called MH. So having MH is like a lot to do with the gases that put you to sleep. You can get very sick. And so I realized that I have this now. Add this onto my long list of things that I have. But, so MH, so I didn't realize that then. And one time, so it wasn't the G-tube surgery, it was my PICC line surgery. They did the gas thing again and put me to sleep. I ended up going into a coma. So I was in a coma for a few days and my fever spiked to almost 105. I don't remember anything. Like being in a coma, you always see those stories. Oh my God, I met Jesus and this and that. I was just asleep. I don't remember. When I woke up, I was in ICU. I literally just woke up like, what's going on? Like I just slept it off. And yeah, like leading up to these points, I just remember being so sick and having those shivers and just the fevers and not feeling good. I remember my aunt being there, my mom being there, my mom having to argue with these doctors because the doctors would just be like, it's all in her head, it's all in her head. And I remember that doctor told my mom that it was all in my head when I had these fevers. And after I went into the coma and everything, he went to my mom and he apologized and he said, I'm sorry that I didn't take you guys seriously. But man, I wanted someone to tell me, it was the gas, it was the Versed and the gases that made you sick. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I still would rather have that gas than get them needles. At the time, I didn't care if it was gonna make me sick. I didn't want the needles. Now that I know it was the gas and everything, it just makes so much sense. Everything, my whole life now, it makes sense. But I got the port, so I only have to get poked once, and the needle's usually good for 7 days. And at the time, they told me about the port, and I always refused to get it. I never wanted it because I was like, well, I still have to get poked, this and that. I literally didn't get the port for years and years, and we tried the PICC line, but the PICC line, oh my God, to get it out, I remember that. They just had to pull it out, and the needle still, it went to my heart. I mean, not the needle, the cords and everything. They put me to sleep to get it in, but to get it out, they just were pulling it, and I just remember screaming on them pulling it out, and I don't remember how they got it out. I just remember being in the ER, the room, and they started pulling it out. I don't remember. They probably put me to sleep or something. I don't remember. But getting the port was a very good thing. That's another thing that I will never get rid of. My port and my G-tube. I will never get rid of those because they make my life a lot better. Because every time I go to the hospital, they just access my port and you could do the blood work and antibiotics through it, and it's a lot easier. The only thing I'm having issues with my port is because I got it so long ago, they didn't give me this card, a power port card. I know it's power port because I could see on x-rays. I know it was. They give me the hardest time when I'm in the hospital. If I had to get a CT scan, they have to put the dye. They're like, no, we don't have the power port because you don't have the card. I'm like, back in the days, they didn't give you a card. They're like, well, we need the card. Can you call the hospital? It's it's the biggest fucking thing. But yeah, it's having CF makes me who I am, and I would not change it for anything. I remember being in school, I would have to miss so much school, and I was on this, I think, IEP plan or something, that when I go to the hospital, they would have to give you, your homework in there. I remember that being hell, because I remember teachers didn't like to give me my homework, and then I think that's why, I just did not do good at school, because I missed so much school from being in the hospital so much. And because I missed so much school, it makes you not know what you're doing. Like math, totally flunked math. All through high school, I was in geometry. Never passed geometry. Still to this day, have no idea what geometry is. Like, I missed so much school for being in the hospitals. It was ridiculous. I never even went to school because it was like, I was always in the hospital. Like, I was always sick, and then teachers never wanted to give me my homework. So, like, I never got it. I got my high school equivalency, and, like, that was still hard to get because I had no idea about stuff. So, luckily, all that is done with. But now, being a mother is something else. Because going to the hospital now, I have no plans of wanting to go to the hospital. I know I need to. Trust me, I know I need to. But having a son who I love so much, I'd rather just be here playing with him all day. And he's not old enough to go to the hospital with me and sleep with me and all that in the hospital. So it just sucks because I don't want to leave him because I love him so much. That's my pride and joy right there. My son is everything. Oh, I should get into that. Let me get into a little bit of my pregnancy story. So, one time, it was in 2019, June 2019. No, yes, June 2019. I went to the hospital because I had to get my G-tube switched out. So in Texas, because I lived in Texas for a little bit. In Texas, so having a G-tube, let me get to that. Having a G-tube, you have to switch your G-tube every 6 months. Like, you pop it out, pop a new one in, right? Every 6 months. So I used to always do it myself. In Texas, they make you go to the hospital so they could do it for you, right? So I went to the hospital, and it's like a procedure. In Texas, they literally, like, make you go, like, you could get, you know, medication to, like, make you numb, but, like, I don't need it. I literally don't need it. Like, it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? I don't need it, whatever. But, so they made me go to the room and everything, the pre-op room. So I'm in the pre-op room with, at the time, my boyfriend, okay? Well, he's my husband now. So at the time, he was just my boyfriend, you know? But, so we're, like, in the room and everything, and you always have to pee in a cup. To pee in a cup to, like, make sure you're not pregnant and stuff. And it's weird because never been pregnant before, like, didn't know I could even become pregnant because of CF, all that stuff. So, like, we're there, like, we're messing around, I'm on Snapchat, you know, this and that. And a nurse comes up to me and she says, come here, like, I don't remember what she said. She's like, oh, come here, I need to show you something, or I don't even know. So then I go behind the counter, she takes me, and she shows me this piece of paper. And then she points to it. And on the piece of paper, it says, pregnant, yes. And I immediately call my husband. I'm like, Joseph, come here. And then I tell him, like, I'm pregnant. Oh my God, when I tell you, I was in fucking shock. He was in fucking shock. I mean, we were in fucking shock. And then she's like, we can't do your G-tube exchange today because of that. You need to go make an OBGYN appointment, all this and this and this, right? So I immediately leave and I immediately call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm pregnant. She's like, no, you're not. And I call her on FaceTime. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, Mom, I'm serious. So then I go immediately, we get prenatal pills. I remember this at the Walmart. I was like freaking out. Then we went to Burlington. I got these little cute baby mittens. Like, literally, when I tell you, I was just like overwhelmed. I told everybody, right? Like, immediately, because I was like, oh my God. Not knowing that things happen. Not knowing that you should wait like 12 weeks because of things like this. Not knowing any of that. And then I go to the hospital, right? So I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. I gotta like see an ultrasound, this and that. But I know like it's too early or whatever, but I'm like, I need to go. So like I go to the hospital and I'm like, I tell the hospital like I'm bleeding, but I wasn't bleeding, but I lied so that they would do an ultrasound and do like the HCG test and all that. So then they do that. Then I see the ultrasound. I was pregnant with twins, fraternal twins, right? 2 babies. But I look at the stocks, oh my God, this is crazy, right? Then I go to my OBGYN appointment, and then They do an ultrasound and it looks exactly the same as it did a few weeks ago when I was at the hospital. So I'm like, So like, I'm supposed to be already like, I think 8 weeks. And then the lady's like, oh, you're too early. You're probably only like 5 weeks. But I know my body. I know that's not true. So I go home, I do some Googling, and I see that there's something called like a ectopic pregnancy or something where like the babies just don't grow. It's just the sacs. And then I go to the OBGYN appointment again. They say the same thing. Oh, you're too early. No, I'm not. And then I leave, whatever, but I already tell my husband this. I already tell him, like, I already know that this is a not viable pregnancy, this and that. I tell him. Then I go again. Then the bitch wants to tell me that it's a ectopic pregnancy or whatever. I'm like, bitch, I already knew this. Like, I already knew. Like, you guys, dumbass OBGYNs. Like, for real dumb. Like, I already knew this. I could have told you this. So, they were just the sacs. They never grew into babies, never grew into heartbeats, none of that. But I'm like, shoot, pregnant with twins, which means it could happen to me again. Which is cool. But, no. So that happens. Then they're like, well, because you have CF, we don't want to just give you the pill and whatever. So they're like, you're going to have a DNC. So then August comes around, I have a DNC. And then, like, I think it was a couple, like, weeks later, I take a pregnancy test. I'm pregnant, right? I'm like, oh my God, how am I pregnant again? So, like, I get excited, but I'm not going to get too excited because I know about this ectopic pregnancy crap, whatever it's called. So I know, so I'm not getting my hopes up, whatever. I go back to the OBGYN. The bitch didn't take all the shit out. So I have to do another DNC. And that was in September. I have to do another DNC because of that, right? Because she decided, as a doctor, she didn't want to take all of the remains out. Whatever. So, of course, that is not going to be my doctor anymore. Like, for real, no. So then I get another DNC. And then I started taking this medication called Trikafta. December. I started taking it. It, like, just came out December of 2019. So I started taking it. Then December, what did I do in December? I'm like, what did I do in December? Then December happened. So I remember December, we flew back to my grandpa's in Vegas for Christmas. And then we went back home. January comes around. It's just a normal day. So I have this pregnancy test and everything, right? Just in my cabinet. So I took it, like the beginning of January. It was negative, right? And then I don't know why or what made me take another one a few days later. But I randomly just took one. No symptoms. I think I was like supposed to be like 2 days before my period or something. I had a clear blue, one of those digital ones. And I took it. And it literally said pregnant. And I'll insert the pictures and everything that I had. I literally took it and it said pregnant. And I was in shock. And for some reason this time, so I was scared because I knew about the ectopic pregnancy or whatever, however you say that word. So I was nervous about it, but at the same time, I wasn't. Like, I just knew this was gonna be good, you know? And so I surprised my husband that day on his lunch break. And I remember, like, I gave him the bag and everything. It was like a bag with a test in it, and he, like, flung the test out. And he was like, what the heck? And he, like, looked at it. I remember that. That was so cute. But I think that day or the next day, I went to the hospital and I did the same exact thing. I said I was bleeding. They did tests and everything. And guess what? I didn't hear the heartbeat that day, but I have a little thingy of my discharge papers that said there was a heartbeat. And the doctors heard it and everything. Oh my God. And that was my little baby boy Chase. So then that pregnancy was a great pregnancy. Like, literally, I felt so great on pregnancy. Except when I started having my back pain. That boy. It was like right where like the bra clasps are, like on my back right here. That pain lasted for like 4 months. I went to the doctor multiple times, and this dumb doctor, I swear, this is a funny story. So I am like in the hospital telling the doctor like my back hurts right here, and then mind you, I didn't wear a bra. Like I didn't wear a bra like months. Like even to this day, I don't really wear a bra. Like I don't. And the doctor was like, is it from your bra? Bitch, what? Like, me and my husband still to this day laugh about it. Because we're like, no, I don't even wear a bra. I'm not even wearing a bra right now. Like, they're my doctors. But it was definitely that boy. Because as soon as I popped that boy out, my back fine. He's too much. He has a big head. He was huge. He was a big boy. It was because of my feeding tube. I guarantee it. Made him a big baby. It's a nutrient. So I like put nutrient through my tube. So he was definitely a nutrient baby. And Trikafta baby. Because Trikafta, I think, also helped me get pregnant with a viable pregnancy. But that is pregnancy story a little bit about that. And then now that you guys know I have CF, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I need to say. I have bad feet. I go to physical therapy for my feet. I have really bad feet. One time I was in the hospital, because I used to do track and field in high school, which I'm very proud about too. Because I beat a girl with asthma, and I told her all the time, I have CF and I beat you. She didn't like me. She used to like roll her eyes at me, and she didn't like me. I mean, I wouldn't like myself either. Like, I'm an asshole. But one time I was in the hospital, and I just remember like getting out of the hospital bed, and my foot literally went, like these are my toes and this is my heel. It literally went like that. That shit hurt. It was like a Charlie horse, but the bottom of my feet, like still to this day, I have really bad feet. And I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow actually for my foot. I'm gonna get like insoles and everything, because they might want to do surgery on my feet, but I don't know. I can't even get a cortisone shot on my feet because that's scary. I got dry needling in my calves a couple weeks ago. That wasn't bad, but oh, that's another thing. I have diabetes. And so my diabetes acted up. And whoo, when I tell you I stood up, I almost fainted. Like my blood sugar and my fucking blood pressure just dropped. I'm gonna tell you, I almost fucking fainted. And then like the lady at physical therapy took my blood pressure. She's like, whoa, you need to chill. You gotta sit down. I got issues. I got a lot of health issues. But I have arthritis too. Speaking of arthritis, I got an arthritis appointment next week with the doctor. But yeah, I still manage to be alive and breathe every single day. Oh, you know what? You guys, I just really hope you guys are cool to hang out with me. Yeah, you guys want to be cool. One more thing. I think my outfit is so cute, and I had to show you guys because I just love it so much. Like, look, how cute is this? I think it's so cute. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.